Hey everybody, welcome to another War Machine Battle Court. I'm Lightem'up. I've got a game here between Retribution and my Cygnar. So, I am still running Cygnar for the time being, and we will see how this goes. I'll talk about it more at the end of the video. My buddy is running Adeptis Rahn. He is not in tier. He is bringing a full unit of Strike Force with Eiryss 3. That is why he is not in tier. But this is Rahn anchored with a Helios with two Chimeras. Both Chimeras are going to be proxied, one by a Magister, I think, and one by some other medium-based jack. But they're the only other things in the list that aren't Battle Mages or Strike Force, so not hard to pick out. So Rahn is going up here. It is a huge control caster. Fortunately for me, I am going to be running Darius. I told him what my two lists were. Darius and a Ret List, and he decided to put down Rahn this time, and we played Ret next time. His Alara next time. So, on to my list. We are playing Captain E. Dominic Darius, anchoring with the Stormwall, and going with the double Centurion build on top of that. This is the heavy metal theme force, so I will be getting a free Junior Warcaster, a free Archduke Runewood, and a free command attachment for the Sword Knights. I ended up paying for Captain Strangeways, because in order to get all 4 free solos or CAs, you have to take only jacks, and I felt that a more balanced approach would be better, especially for Darius. I think he doesn't mind having Sword Knights, being able to run a lot of jacks very well, and have the Sword Knights in there for more attacks, and they hit reasonably well, especially if they can get flank off, and if they can get flank and Archduke Runewood bonus, then they're hitting at Mat 9, which is very respectable. Mat 9 POW 12 Weaponmasters are something to be scared of, for most factions at least. So, the idea behind this list, or maybe it's only POW 10. It's POW 10 Weaponmaster, yeah. Mat 9 POW 10 Weaponmaster. Not bad, definitely good enough to handle some troop swarm lists. Darius also has a few spells that can, not spells, but a few effects that can help him out, like his 4-inch or 3-inch AoE gunshot. 4-inch AoE gunshot. Anyway, so the idea behind this list is to have the Stormwall be immovable, put Fortify up on a Centurion so that it can be not pushed or moved by slams or anything like that, and then the other Centurion keep him in the back until it's needed. So on to the game. So for this game, once again, we're using a hedge that is essentially a wall that only provides concealment instead of cover. And then we also have an obstruction denoted by the large amounts of crates at the bottom. So this particular game, I lost the roll. My opponent chose to go first. And due to that force with a nice little crook in the right of it, on my side of the board, I decided to take this side of the board because that looks like a nice little camping spot for Darius. Keep him nice and safe, control most of the board, keep him in 14-inch control range thanks to the Squire, and do all my work from back there. Fortunate thing about that large force in the middle is it will allow my jacks to only be pulled half distance by all of his pulls and pushes with his battle mages and Helios' guns. So that is something I am glad we had on the table. We are using double rubble up on the top, so that all those little pieces where it looks like in the man-made part where it looks like craters, that is all rubble, destroyed roads and whatnot. Alright, so on the first round here, my opponent is going to be going and moving up all of his strike force. And it's pretty much just a standard first turn, so I'm not going to worry about talking too much about what he does. Rahn has the innate ability now instead of the spell Forced Mastery. That innate ability allows him the bonuses of the spell Force Wall, I think it is. Whatever the new spell that Haley 2 got on her card to replace Deflection. Basically, he gets to choose the direction of all the drifts in his AoEs, and he can also not be knocked down, and a couple other things, but it doesn't really matter. One thing I did not know about, or I did not realize about the Battle Mages is I was planning on using my mines, my little Halfjacks, to go up to the flags and turn them into mines, and then if his Battle Mages tried to control them, then blow up the mines. Unfortunately, the mines do POW 14 blast damage, and the mittens are immune to blast damage, so that kind of sucks for me. So right there I was just measuring out to see if I might be able to get a drift into some mage hunters, but it wouldn't be worth it. Even if I did get the correct distance, he would just tell me to go backwards and not hit anyone. So we're moving up. Got one of my halfjacks ran up there behind the obstruction because, you know, of course, I did not know at this point that his battle mages were immune. I don't find that out until after I turn them into a mine later. Doesn't bother too much. Stormwall did trample up and sent out a pod to electrify one of the Strike Force down. I do not like Strike Force, so killing as many of them as I can, as early as I can, will really help me out, since they can just straight wreck my jacks. Fortunately, he is playing Rahn and not Oscion, so they only get 3 dice damage instead of 4 dice damage. But it's still damage I don't want to be taking. Alright, so the idea behind this is I ran a few Sword Knights up to not only contest, because I don't really need to contest, but really to just get in the face as far as they could up to the Strike Force. Keep them from being able to get into good ranges, at least easily. And then kept the rest of them back far enough that if he moved to the flags, they would be able to walk up to them and take some swings on. Since he's got the spell Polarity Field up on to the Mage Hunters, I cannot charge them. So that makes it a little more annoying to get attack bonuses into them, since Runewood's +2 to hit is only on charge attacks. Other than that, I have a Centurion hiding out behind the forest, kind of towed into it so that he can get, if he gets dragged, he only gets dragged half distance. And the other Centurion at the top of the field on the Stormwall's other side, that's kind of on the Stormwall's right side, he is the one with Fortify up on it. Of course, Arcane Shield went on to Stormwall himself. And then the Charger is sitting up there with his nice blue paint job behind the hedge, ready to take some shots into his Chimeras, trying to take out those Arc Nodes. Cutting down threat angles and threat extensions for Rahn is extremely important. He's got a lot of board control in his list, especially when they bring the double mittens, and then Helios adds in so much more. Since Helios has those 3-inch pulls that he can do with his gun. It's a pretty sick combination. But right now, so we got the Mage Hunter Strike Force are going, and they're taking some shots into my Sword Knights. Most of them could not get into range of the Centurion. I don't know. Yeah, it looks like just a couple of them took a few of them to shoot up the Sword Knights, and then some more shooting into the Sword Knights in the back. So he's able to clear out, looks like 3 or 4 of the Sword Knights. The ones that are behind cover, he's not really going to be able to hurt. And that looks like that's it for them. They're going to get repositioned off of Eiryss 3. He's trying to... I don't know what he was trying to do, but he's spreading them out almost to their maximum control command range on Eiryss. Keeping Eiryss in the back, and then the Soulless Escort back there, just basically as a point filler. He's not going to really do an awful lot. Not that he can do an awful lot. I don't have a lot of spell casting in this game. Alright, so now the battle mittens at the bottom are going, and he's going to try to get some work done on those guys. Gets a few to take some pot shots at the Sword Knight behind cover of the obstruction, but doesn't do anything with them. Ends up missing both times. And then runs that Chimera. He's going to end up running that Chimera on the north part, the one that's hanging out in the rubble. He's going to run it into position of up by that flag, not touching the flag because he couldn't. He didn't. I don't know why he didn't want to touch the flag, but he didn't touch the flag. And I believe he was trying to get into range to do a spell at my Centurion. Yes, he definitely was. I don't know what spell it was that he was doing. But you see he moved his caster over to keep it inside of control range, or keep the Chimera inside of control range. And I think he was trying to do telekinesis. Oh yes, yeah, he tried to do he did a telekinesis into the Centurion. And here, Oh, sorry. That was a Force Hammer into the Charger, which ended up going over Arlen and knocking down Arlen and knocking down the Charger. Did only like 3 points of damage to Arlen and only did a few points of damage to the Charger. And then he did the TK to the Centurion. So turned the Centurion around, moved him backwards. Kind of glad he didn't move him forwards because I was afraid he was going to start shooting with his battle mittens. He probably should have... No, he probably did a good job there. Because, yeah, if he pulled my Centurion in, then my Stormwall would just kill the Helios, if Helios came to kill the Centurion. Okay, so then he's moving up the gold unit of Battle Mages. Putting a few of them in cover. I believe he just ran within that turn. Ends up giving focus to the Helios from his mechanics. Helios wants to make sure to stay out of the threat range of Stormwall. And then he moves up. I think he moves up just into threat range, or maybe just out of threat range of the Stormwall. But puts up all of his Force Mastery abilities. It makes him like a defense 12 in melee and a defense like 14 against range. And he's got like Poltergeist and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a crazy jack. And then I think that is it for his turn. Yeah, so there I am measuring the threat range on the Stormwall. So he does end up putting his Colossal into threat range of mine, but I think I want to play a little more conservative. Not just because he has a bunch of Mage Hunters that can't be charged in my way, although that is a pretty good deterrent. It will be nearly impossible for me to kill all the Mage Hunters that are in front of, between me and Helios, without being able to charge them, because they still have Clarity Field. I can't shoot them with Darius, so that's not going to happen. Speaking of Darius, he moved over, and he did a crane onto the Centurion to stand him back up. Then took a shot into the Chimera to hurt him a little bit. Runewood there went over and did a Reveille to stand up Arlen and stand up the Charger, and then the Arlen powered up the Charger to fill him up on focus, so that the Charger could take some shots into, I believe it was into the Chimera. So yeah, he just did a ton of damage into the Chimera, so the Chimera is hurting pretty bad. And then at this point, it's just going to be up to the Centurion to charge in and take out the Chimera. He's also going to be base to base with the flag, and it only takes, I think, one of the charging focus to do it, and ends up wasting a focus because he does put a polarity field, but most of the stuff's behind him, and then he's got an extra focus just left on him. So I got a Centurion and a Halfjack up there base to base with the flag. The Halfjack did go into mine mode. Once again, I did not know that he was immune to mines. At the bottom of the board, I am taking out some Mage Hunters with no charges, which is pretty sweet. My Mat 6 guys hitting at defense 14 and managing to kill him. A couple of them were Mat 7 because of Runewood, but I think one of them was only Mat 6 and still managed to hit his target. Turned another Halfjack into a mine and then crept the Centurion out from behind the forest. Fortunately for me, he put all three of those Mage Hunter Strike Force in a nice little line, and Stormwall was able to pod 3 of them to death. So that was my second pod from Stormwall, and he ends up punching a few more of the Mage Hunters, punching some of the mittens, and that will end my turn, and I will go to 1 control point. Alright, so it's 1-0 Cygnar, and we've got Ron's feat turn is probably going to be coming this turn. I think this is going to be Ron's feat turn. I don't think it would be worth it for him to save it for another round because he's running out of mittens, and he can't do an awful lot with himself if he loses that other arc node without exposing himself to some significant danger. Especially since Darius, while he does not have any focus on him, is standing behind a very thick forest and a very healthy Stormwall. So, I believe we were going over some of my abilities, making sure there was nothing I don't know what he was He was asking me some questions about some stuff, and I'm not sure what it was about. Either way, he is still going through his planning phase. Goes through and allocating his focus. He doesn't need to allocate focus, but I think he allocates one to the Hyperion so that the second Arcanist can do the power swell ability, or whatever it's called, when they give them additional power or additional damage. Concentrated power, that's it. And then his Mage Hunter Strike Force goes up, and Eiryss ends up taking out, or Eiryss and her two butters that are left end up taking out two of my Sword Knights there. And I believe the one at the bottom failed to kill his buddy. Eiryss's Quick Work Shot takes out another one. So, lost 3 more Sword Knights on that turn. I'm down to, I think, just 2 now. And then the UA and the Flag Bearer. Or Command Attachment and Flag Bearer, sorry. Looks like maybe I got 3 left. 3 in the Command Attachments. Alright, so, looks like Ron's feet just went down, I believe. Yep, there goes Ron's feet. So he moves over behind the Hyperion, and his Chimera is going to attempt to get some stuff done. I think his, oh, so he forgot that Ron's feat is, does not give additional range to or only gives additional range to non-channeled spells. So he's unable to do the Force Hammer and TK, or whatever it was, into my Centurion, which is what he wanted to do. And instead just decided to move around a bunch of my Sword Knights to get them into some weird positions. Allow for his Mittens to shoot at them without them getting the in-melee penalties. And then his Mittens are going up there to control the bottom flag down there. So there goes off, killing off a couple more of my Sword Knights. I'm down just to the UA and the Flag Bearer. Ends up pushing my Centurion a few more times, doing a couple points of damage, but he's going to find it hard to damage him significantly. That was a good roll though, I think he did 6 points of damage on that one. This is the unarmored one. Ends up knocking him down too, so that'll hurt if I can't get over there to crane him up. And then the Mittens at the top are going to go, and one of them is going to go ahead and contest that top flag. And I think they shot a couple bolts into my other Centurion, but I mean, he's got Fortify on him, so he's not going anywhere, and they're not going to be doing an awful lot of damage to him at armor 23. Ends up moving the couple remaining battle mages out of the way of the Hyperion, so the Hyperion can go into Stormwall. I don't know what we're going over right now. Okay, so right now he's just moving up his Arcanist, and there goes the Empower, or the Concentrated Power, and the additional focus onto Hyperion. So now Hyperion's going to come into Stormwall and attempt to see what he can do. See if he can get anything done on the Stormwall. That is an Arcane Shield at Stormwall, so he is at armor 22. The Hyperion, I believe, is punching at power 22. So not great dice, not great dice math. I believe he only has 5 total attacks that he can hit into me. He did not have to charge, so he doesn't have to worry about that. So he will get all 5 attacks. And if you saw the grid there, he was able to take out one side and do significant damage to the other side, but fell a few points shy. And then it'll be 1-1. So he will score a control point at the bottom flag. And we're on to my turn. So I'm planning this out, and I'm trying to see if I, in my head, if I can feat and get Stormwall to get all the work done, and then Jackhammer. So the plan was to have Stormwall get Bodge repaired to fix his other arm from my base-to-base Halfjack. Have Stormwall beat the crap out of the Helios. But before he does that, move to max melee range so that Darius could jackhammer. Unfortunately, I flubbed that. You see me measuring the 6 inches there for the jackhammer, and I'm out of range to jackhammer. So it's going to be up to Stormwall to just take out Hyperion on the Helios on his own. I did feat this turn, so Stormwall is back to full hit points, and it really doesn't matter too much if I kill the Helios all at once, because if I don't kill him with Stormwall, I still have my Centurion that's on that top flag that can come in and hurt him too. And while he is only power 18, I believe the Helios is only armored 19, so should be good. End up spending all of the Stormwall's focus. Did not kill Eiryss, left her on a point with my last storm pod there, right between Eiryss and that Soulless Escort. And then ended up sending the Centurion into Hyperion or Helios and killing off Helios. And then the Halfjack at the top was able to control the flag at the top again. So the Centurion at the bottom there, he is... I don't know what that second move was, but either way, end up ending the turn. I will go to 2 control points at the end of this turn. And we are on to my opponent's turn. So, at this point, he is going to spend a lot of time thinking about what he can do. I can test at the bottom flag, so it is 2-1 right now. And he is running out of models quickly. He has no hope of killing Stormwall. He lost all of his heavy hitters. The Chimera can't do anywhere near enough damage. I think it's only power 16 on its fists. And then the battle mages with the feet blown aren't going to be able to do anything. So basically what he's looking for is how or if he can get an assassination off onto Darius. The idea here, you see him putting out some proxy bases. The first one is the apparition move. The second one is where his running route would be to. And then if he's able to run there, Rahn could TK him from the yellow proxy to the black proxy, and that would give him line of sight into Darius. So if Rahn can get Darius and then TK Darius to where that proxy base is right there, that little yellow one, then he will have a few points of focus left still on Rahn to take a couple attacks into him, and then all of the battle mages at the bottom will be able to walk up and try to force bolt Darius. If Eiryss can get the shot off to take off my focus, because I believe I'm sitting on like 3 focus at this point. So he has to get rid of the storm pod. See those 2 gold battle mages? They went up. They attempted to take out the storm pod, and 2 battle mages ended up flubbing. So that will be a Cygnar victory. Basically, because those 2 battle mages were unable to destroy the storm pod, he would have to either use Eiryss to do it or use Rahn to do it, because without that storm pod, or with that storm pod there, it would be impossible for him to run the Chimera into position to arc TKs. And if he has to use Rahn to do it, then he can't do what he needs to do to Darius, and if he has to use Eiryss to do it, then Darius gets to sit on 3 focus at armor 18 and 22 boxes, and it's just impossible for what he has to do to kill me, or what he'd have left to kill me. So it was a good game. My opponent made some good tactical decisions, just unfortunately did not, or kind of overestimated what the Helios would be able to do in melee. It's a powerful jack. Power 22 is not nothing to be sneezed at, but if you leave Stormwall in even 1 box, you've just given me your heavy or your colossal when I'm playing Darius. So a little dangerous to do, but things happen. So Let me know what you guys think. I believe the heavy metal theme force is pretty sweet. I think that Darius runs it amazing. I will be running a Cray list next week. It was an interesting list. It'll be a rematch between me and the same player here. He'll be running Alara 2 and I'll be running Cray. It was a really great game. I can't wait to put it on the channel. Other than that, anyone that's planning on going to Adepticon, please let me know. I guess hit me up on my Facebook page or comment on the video. Hopefully we can actually meet up and maybe get some games in at Adepticon. I will be bringing War Machine and probably bringing Infinity because I'm getting into Infinity recently. If you are not a peruser of the Privateer Press forums, apparently starting tomorrow, March 1st, they're going to be offline for a week and then changing completely. So God knows what's going to happen with that. Hopefully you guys will still be able to find my battle reports. If not, subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to find them just fine. Alright, so if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. I do plan on getting a King 2 game in later this week. I get it on the channel in a week or two, and then probably going back to Scorn for Adepticon. So I'm going to start getting some Scorn practice games in. Alright guys, have a good one, and I will see you later.